Well, ladies and gentlemen, Teo here, back with some more Ever17. Last I remember, the kid was being a dumbass. Which is weird, because usually that's like Takeshi's job, right? Like, usually Takeshi handles all the protagonist-related dumbassery, but the kid has decided to step up to the plate, not let Takeshi be the sole perpetrator of dumbassery, and is now proceeding to make an ass of himself. That was my name. What was my name? What was I called? I didn't know. Why was that the only thing that I couldn't remember? As long as I couldn't remember that, I felt incomplete. As if the essence of my existence were concentrated into my name. As long as I couldn't remember my name, I couldn't feel complete. That was how I felt. No matter how much else I remembered, that one point escaped me. Then I thought back about what it was that had made me lose my memory. The massive guilt I felt towards Sara. I wondered if that was why I had repressed my memory. But there was too much about that theory that didn't make sense. Heh. It's been my experience throughout the entire reading process of Ever17. There was too much about that theory that didn't make sense. Where's my print screen page button? Print screen. This is important. Save the screen for posterity. I lost my memory before meeting Sara, and before the accident at Limu. And I couldn't remember what I was doing just before then, or why I had come to Limu. It might have been that I had seen Sara at Limu, and then it had happened? But something didn't seem right about that, either. I couldn't imagine why only my name and recent events wouldn't come back to me. I'd already remembered Sara. It would make sense for me to remember everything. I wonder what kind of amnesia it might be. Yeah, so these are all well and good questions, but in the meantime, you should go, like, apologize to your sister for being a jackass. A sudden sound and shaking made me look up. The next instant, warning alarms started shrieking. All around me, the squeal of straining metal echoed from the structure. The shaking continued on and off. What? I ran out of the room. Water? I noticed something strange as I emerged in the corridor. Water was flowing in. I couldn't believe that water could have reached here. Kid! You, what is this? Did something happen? I'll explain later. For now, just hurry over here. What? I found a way out. Where? I'll explain it later. Just hurry up. With those words of encouragement, Yu started running. She turned the corner, heading for stairs leading to the emergency corridor. What about everyone else? Takeshi's gonna go get Mayo. Tsugumi's already at the emergency corridor. We dashed toward the stairs to the emergency corridor, and climbed to the emergency corridor. Takeshi, Tsugumi, and Sara were already gathered there. Hurry, we don't have much time. What happened? Just hurry! Saying that, he started running ahead of everyone else. Classic Takeshi. Tsugumi followed suit. Listen, Limu's already starting to collapse. Well, that was sudden. You pushed my back, encouraging me. I started running. You know, I probably could have seen this coming if I'd been paying more attention to the dates and whatnot, but that sounds like it requires far more brain power than I have access to. We were finally able to make contact with the surface, and now the emergency stairs are accessible. Oh, okay, so this makes sense. Makes sense that they would want to have that conversation off-screen so that it doesn't spoil the ending of Yu's route. But if we don't hurry, they're gonna flood. So just hurry. You explained the situation from behind me. I followed Takeshi and Tsugumi as we sprinted the distance of the emergency stairs. We soon reached the stairs. Takeshi and Tsugumi were already climbing. Hurry, this way! Takeshi's voice rang down from above. I ran, following the sound of their footsteps. As we were trying to escape, Limu began to shake and screech as metal clashed with metal. We just kept climbing, moving toward the top. Only the sound of everyone's labored breathing and running footsteps on stairs echoed throughout the emergency stairs. Just a little more, we're almost there, Takeshi shouted up ahead. Takeshi's voice was full of hope. It was then that we realized it. Mayo isn't here! Yu shouted it. Huh? What'd you say? I stopped and looked back. Yu stood on the stairs, stunned and looking downward. What happened? She was right behind me! What happened? Did you, like, leave her pendant somewhere and went back for it? Takeshi and the others came down the stairs. Takeshi, Mayo isn't here! Jeez, didn't you check to see that she was behind you? She was right behind me from the start! Partway up, I got so into climbing... The stairs shook violently, and there was a large sound. At the same time, the lights that dimly lit the stairs went out. Damn, a blackout! We can't go back now. If we double back, everyone's a goner. But... I'll go. Huh? I'll go back. Everyone keep going. Without waiting for a reply, I started rushing down the stairs I had just climbed. Hey, kid! It's impossible! It's already starting to flood! What do you think you're gonna do? Their voices rang up behind me. I mean, in fairness, that's like a pretty legitimate question, right? Like, if you're gonna send somebody back as a one-man rescue party, you probably don't send back the guy with the broken arm when the building is flooding, right? Like, that's just common sense, but I guess narrative demands trump common sense. So, it is what it is. Swim! It's pitch black below. No problem. I can see. Oh, that's right. He can see. Okay, never mind. This decision has suddenly become meaningfully less dubious, given that the kid now has a superpower that is deeply, deeply relevant to their current situation. I could actually see the different parts of the stairs by their different temperatures. It was the first time that I had ever been thankful for my unusual vision. I went down the stairs and came out of Dwight Stock's emergency corridor. It looked like the emergency power had already died. I wondered where Sara might be. I thought frantically. If she turned back part way, then she probably wouldn't have made it to Dritta Stock. But I couldn't be sure. If she'd gone all the way down to Dritta Stock, then I would never make it in time if I looked around Dwight Stock first. I didn't know what to do. I had to decide whether I would start looking on Dritta Stock or from Dwight Stock. We are going to Dwight Stock, because she's there. There is no deeper meaning behind this decision other than the flowchart told me to. No, I thought Sara was somewhere in Dwight Stock. I didn't know why, but I was sure of it. She was probably somewhere in Dwight Stock. I knew it might be a meaningless hunch. But maybe it was our sibling bond talking to me. Sara and I had the same blood in our veins. That was my thinking. It was probably my imagination, but it was all I had to bet on. I opened the emergency hatch and saw that water had already covered 3/4 of the corridor. Man, wouldn't that be convenient if, like, every time I had to make a major decision, like, a guy playing a visual novel of my life, like, looked at a flowchart and, like, made me make the right decision? That'd be sweet. I mean, it would, be kind of... The whole lack of free will there would be a little bit unfortunate, but as far as, like, making decisions and getting good results, like, it'd be great. I just make the right decision every time. Without hesitating, I threw myself in. The water flowed unpredictably, with whirlpools forming here and there. I endured the pain in my right arm and swam desperately. First, I looked in the security office. There was no source of heat that looked like Sara. From there, I made for the warehouse, but Sara wasn't there. I took the merry-go-round, but she wasn't there either. Ahead of me was the elevator hall. Again, no Sara. I swam back up the corridor. Water had completely covered the entrance to the infirmary. I took a breath and dove underwater. I put my hand on the door and peered inside, and there was Sara. Hi, Sara. Sara's body heat made her stand out brightly against the cool surrounding darkness. I went into the infirmary and floated to the surface. Sara looked surprised when I broke through to the surface. Brother. Sara, you're alright. Why are you... I promised, didn't I? Told you I'd come find you, didn't I? Finally, the roaring sound stopped and the flow of water slowed. The squeaking and screeching of metal on metal also died down. It seemed that the flooding had stopped. There was still little air left in the ceiling of the infirmary. It was kind of like a cup flipped upside down, filled mostly with water. Sara and I were floating there. It looks like things have quieted down a bit. Oh, right, but Sara can't swim very well. Well, this is problematic. I looked at Sara. In the darkness, the only thing throwing off a gentle aura of light was Sara. Sara, you alright? Yeah, I'm okay, just a little cold. Sara forced a smile for me. Sara, why'd you come back? All you had to do was go a little more and you would have been safe. Do you promise you won't get mad? I'm already mad. I swear to fucking God if it's because you left the pendant in the room. Like, I understand, but, like, you're still a dumbass. Mad? Why would I get mad? Well, just tell me. I thought something was strange. From the beginning, Sara had always seemed like she had the upper hand in our relationship. But now that we knew we were brother and sister, it felt like things had been reversed. Now Sara was relying on me, like when we were kids. Well, this... Sara lifted her right hand. Swear to God, it's the bloody pendant. Pinched between her fingers was the shard of mirror and from my finger. Oh my God, it's not even the whole pendant. It's like the tiny piece of glass. Wow, that's hella troll. Hey, it's that piece of the mirror. Yeah, I realized when we were running that this had been left here. So you came back for something like this? It's not just anything. It's something that you fought so hard to protect. Sara, but this isn't something worth risking your life to come back for. You had the pendant anyway. You're right. I'm sorry. I got you involved in all of this. I chose to turn back. You can't blame yourself for that. No, I'm sorry. After that, Sara didn't speak for a while. Sara? Tell the truth, it wasn't just that. Huh? I was scared to go outside. Scared? Of what? I thought that once I got outside, everything would return to like it was. And once I thought about that, I couldn't move anymore. Like it was? What are you talking about? I thought that Lieblich would start controlling us again, and all my freedom would be taken away. When I thought that I'd never be free again, I was paralyzed. paralyzed. Ever since we've been trapped in Limu, everyone has been trying to escape, but I was happy. Nobody was looking over me, and I've been able to decide things for myself. When I thought about that, I was so happy. Ever since I entered Liebig's Research Institute, I haven't felt free even once. Sara's words left me stunned. I wondered why I'd never thought of things that way before. Liebig had written me off early on. I figured that was probably because the only special power I had was seeing infrared light. But Sara was probably different. The way she had been able to use computers, you had called her a first-rate hacker. That was probably only the beginning. After I left the Institute, Sara must have lived under constant observation and undergone experiments. Thinking about it then amazed me. When all this started, I thought this accident was just some kind of test of my abilities or something. And when I found out that Sora was RS degenerated, I suspected that she was here to observe me. But since Nakia was here, I realized that it was probably just an accident, and it made me happy. Until now, everywhere I've gone, there's been someone watching me. Even in high school or when I went out around town. It was pointless trying to escape. The only place I had to go back to was the research lab. And back at the lab, the only thing waiting for me was more experiments and tests. I've never had an ounce of freedom. I suppose that's why I was happy about the accident. Maybe I shouldn't say it. I mean, everyone was so desperate and everything. But I've never had freedom like this. Wow, that's depressing. Sara. That was all I could say. Sara's each and every word made my heart ache. I knew it wasn't Sara's intention, but it felt like every word of hers was a confession to me. Of course, I'd been under surveillance as well, but it had been nowhere near as strict. As long as I didn't do anything out of the ordinary, it was like no one was there. The whole time I'd been living carefree. But Sara had been under Liebig's careful watch this whole time, their guinea pig. Why hadn't I gone to help Sara earlier? I promised that I would, but I hadn't. Of course I had tried, but everything I did was blocked by Liebig's far-reaching influence. Still, I knew there could be no excuses. Why hadn't I tried harder? Why? Brother? Sara was calling to me. Also, this is all, heartfelt and touching and all that, but you do realize that, the building is collapsing and it's flooding, right? So, you could have these, heartwarming conversations on your way outside of the building. I mean, she did just say that she's, scared of going outside, which is, reasonable, but I feel like you want to at least leave that option available, right? I feel like if the alternative is drowning, it's probably better to leave. Just saying. I've been daydreaming in my own world. Thank you. For what? Because you came. No, I left you there by yourself. I didn't come for you. Yes, you did. And I want to thank you. Sara said this and smiled. The smile also seemed tinged with resignation. I don't care anymore. It's okay to die here. That's morbid. Sara, what are you saying? I finally tasted freedom. And I was able to meet you. And if it means going back to the life I had before, then I'd rather... Dying here and now would be better. Up until now, I never even had the freedom to die. Her words shocked me into silence. I had no idea that Sara's life up until now had been so hard. Although this is actually kind of interesting, because I just kind of assumed that they would make it out alive in Sara's route. Because, pattern recognition, right? Takeshi died in Takeshi's route, Takeshi died in Takeshi's route. The kid made it out in the kid's route, so I figured the kid would make it out in the other kid's route. But, again, depending on how the routes are connected to each other, chronologically, if at all, maybe it only makes sense to have one route where they escape, because that's, the last one chronologically. But yeah, I don't know. So it could go either way. This is exciting. But, no, Sara. What? Don't talk like that. We're gonna live, no matter what. I wasn't about to let Sara die here. There was absolutely no way I would let Sara die. If you die here, then it means you've lost to them. You're gonna live, survive, no matter what. It was my responsibility to help Sara live. Sara, let's go, I said. Where? To the ocean surface. How? We'll swim. That's impossible. The pressure will be okay. The air pressure here has been compressed by the water pressure. We're at about 4.5 atmospheres here. Even if we go out in the ocean from here, our lungs will be okay. But still, we don't know that help will come for us, and even if it does, it might be too late. Besides, it's too dangerous for us to stay here. Listen, Sara, we're breathing at 4.5 atmospheres. If we stay here, we're in danger of oxygen poisoning or nitrogen narcosis. We have no idea how long Limu will hold. If Limu collapses, then we'll get dragged down with it. It's too dangerous to stay here. Hey, what? You know I can't swim, right? You'll be okay. You're kind of swimming right now, aren't you? You just have to remember the lessons I gave you. But it isn't the same. I'm just floating right now. It's different than swimming in the ocean. Sara, you'll be okay, don't worry. I'll lead you. I'll pull you all the way. No, it's not possible. We can do it. Believe in your brother. I came here to save you, Sara. Brother. Sara, believe in me. Sara clasped the pendant she was wearing around her neck. Let's go, Sara. Okay. I pulled Sara along with me and we left the infirmary. We moved from air pocket to air pocket, looking desperately for a place where the wall had collapsed in. When we finally found a tear big enough for us to squeeze through, we doubled back to the nearest air pocket. We took a number of short breaths to boost the oxygen level in our blood. And finally, taking a deep breath, I grabbed onto Sara's hand and led her through the hole and into the ocean. With the walls and floor gone, for an instant I lost sense of which way was up and which was down. Soon I saw a faint light in the water above. I held Sara under my arm and headed for that light. I desperately thrashed my legs and swam with my broken arm. The water pressure was slowly pushing the air from my lungs. Sara's face was twisted in pain. I was in agony. Still I swam, struggling to pull Sara toward the light. I kept kicking, believing that if I could make it to the source of the light, then everything would be okay. Even if all of the oxygen were squeezed out of my lungs, I was not about to let Sara die here. That thought kept me moving. Slowly, gradually, the light was getting bigger. Sara's arms squeezed me in desperation. Hoping to give Sara courage, I gripped her tighter with my left arm. As if in response, Sara gave me a smile and started trying to swim upward. I matched her movements, swimming desperately. Come, Sara. Let's go. Toward the light. I was never going to let Sara go again. I was never going to leave my precious sister behind again. Never again. Sara. Is that the end? Are we in the credits now? We are loading. It's very exciting. I'm excited. Y'all excited? 'Cause I'm excited. Alright, here we go. We're gonna skip the credits. Now that I know that that's a thing that I can do. And this is, I assume, the epilogue now. I heard a low mechanical sound from far away. The breeze passing through the tree leaves making them rustle. The same wind gently caressed my cheeks. Wind? Rustling leaves? I opened my eyes slowly. I didn't know where I was for a moment. Had there been a place like this in Limu? I looked up. There was no ceiling. It was just a sprawling, starry sky. It was not like a fake sky. It was not like a fake sky like in the Cosmic Whale Room, but a sky that felt broad and infinite. I was on the ground. More precisely, I was on the floating island, Insel Null. Yes, we had swum to it. The nearly 100 feet from White Stock to the surface. Somehow, I had climbed onto the emergency entrance of Insel Null holding Sara, unconscious in my arms. I remembered checking to see if Sara was alright. After that, I probably fainted from fatigue and a lack of oxygen. I woke with a start, looking around, and was relieved to see Sara lying down next to me. Her chest rose and fell faintly. I could hear the regular sound of her breathing. I looked around again. I checked around the edge of Insel Null, which is a lush park. I could see the administration center, hotel, and a tower of light behind the trees. It was still dark, so it didn't seem like I'd been unconscious very long. Maybe about an hour or so. I was impressed that we'd been able to swim all the way to the surface. I went over it again in my head. Suddenly, a conversation in the control room with Sara came to my mind. Please imagine a 15-story building. So that was probably supposed to say Sora. But it said Sara. Please imagine a 15-story building. Or 5 3-story school buildings stacked vertically upon each other. 5 schools stacked? No way, I couldn't swim that. Well, then how about a 10-story building? A depth of 100 feet. That's the depth of his White Stock. 100 feet. How had I responded to Sora? I'd remembered I'd said it was impossible. Sora said that I was being rational, but even Sora could be wrong. Do the impossible, see the invisible, row, fight the power. We were able to swim it, Sora. That reminded me, I wonder what had happened to Sora. Had she suffered the equivalent of death from the blackout? No, Sora's RSD generated. She wasn't human. She couldn't die. I knew that, but I'd been with her for such a long time. And Sora was, how can I describe it? She was so human. I felt a blunt sense of sadness, as if I had lost a close friend. Sara's voice pulled me back to reality. This was not the time to be thinking about such things. Sara? Sara? I shook Sara's shoulder gently. Sara opened her eyes slightly. Bro? Soon her eyes opened widely. Sara hurriedly sat up. Where are we? Sara didn't seem to understand the situation. Sara, this is Intel Null. So we're safe now. We made it. Over 100 feet from White Stock. Are we still alive? Yeah, we're alive. You are, and I am too. We did it! We did it! Yeah, Sara, we did it. We survived. Yeah. Thank you, brother. I told you to trust me. Yes, you did. Sara smiled. She suddenly put her hand on her chest. She was probably touching the pendant under her shirt, checking to make sure it was still there. Looking relieved, she pulled the pendant out and grasped it in her hand. Thank you, Sara whispered softly. I knew that the pendant was an irreplaceable lucky charm for Sara. Her face suddenly clouded over as she spoke. Hey brother, what about Nakyu, Takeshi, and the others? I think they're alright. By the time I turned back, they'd already climbed fairly high. If they kept going, they should have reached the surface. Really? That's good to hear. Sara looked relieved. We can't stay here forever. We'd made it to the surface safely, but Sara didn't look very well. Was she worried about being taken back to Lieblich after all? Or maybe the oxygen in her blood is, like, doing bad things to her ability to breathe. But Lieblich thing could also be possible. Hey, Sara. What? Let's just keep running. Let's run away. Run away? Yes, from them. I mean, from Lieblich. No, it's impossible. It is possible. How can you say that? You know about them, right? Think about it, Sara. This island has to be in utter chaos. Right? Limu flooded and the whole complex is totally destroyed. And since you and the others got out, this place should be in major confusion, right? Yeah, I suppose. They'll be telling everyone how we were left behind in Limu. And for you and the others, it's the truth. If Lieblich has their doubts and tries to look into them, that's as far as they can investigate. Right. So right now, everyone, including Lieblich people, will be turning their attention to Limu and looking under the ocean. They might actually think that we're already dead. Yeah, that's true. So, now is... It's our chance, isn't it? Right now is a chance we've been waiting for. You're incredible, brother. We're already here, so it's impossible for them to find us in Limu. And if they don't find us in Limu, they'll expand their search for us to the sea around this area. Right? They might suspect that we died and the current carried us off somewhere. In the meantime, if we hide somewhere, they shouldn't be able to follow us, right? Yeah, I'm not sure if we can pull it all off that easily. But we'll still have plenty of head start before they figure out the truth. Yeah, right. Oh, but... Suddenly, Sara looked down. But how are we gonna escape from this island? What? I mean, we can't escape without a way off of the island, right? Yeah, that's... Sara looked at me as if she was full of confidence in me. Well... She had me. I hadn't thought about that. Congratulations, kid. You're a genius. I thought we'd be alright if we could just make it to the surface. I desperately tried to think of something. I know, I've got it. Do you, though? Do you really? There should be all kinds of people around here now that aren't normally here, like construction workers and technical staff. So, ships and helicopters should come and go frequently. First of all, we find some clothes and change. Especially your uniform, it really stands out. Oh, you're right. Sara looked at herself over again. And if we can't get aboard a helicopter, then we can sneak onto some ship and get to some port. And after that, we'll be alright. You really are great. You really thought this through. No, well, I'm sure. Sara was innocently happy. I thought to myself that I could fight to protect her smile with my life. Gotta protect that smile. It's like the motto, the creed. I thought that would be my mission. Let's go, Sara. I held out my left hand to Sara. Sara reached out to me hesitantly. I held her hand tight and squeezed it tight. The warmth of her soft hand spread to mine. For an instant, the memory of Sara holding my thumb flashed across my mind. That fragment in my hand, that shard had helped me retrieve my memory and rediscover the bond between Sara and me. Let's go, Sara. Okay, brother. We're gonna be free. Free. Yeah, free! Yeah! I would never leave Sara again. I would protect Sara no matter what. We started running. Toward freedom. And this is the part where they give me the bullshit about the infinity loop. And how, god damn it. This is why we can't have nice things. We're gonna be free, we're gonna go... what's it called? We're gonna escape Lieblich, but no, we're trapped in the infinity loop, whatever the hell that is. So, this is where we are now. We're opening the third eye. And finding Coco, who, now that, like, we've discovered that Sara's, like, actually the kid's brother, like, that was, like, sort of my last theory on, like, who Coco was that I liked. So, Like, I'm pretty sure at this point that Coco and Sara are, like, completely different people. Which means I don't have a good theory anymore of, like, who Coco is or, like, why she's relevant. Like, the information I have about her is her dad works in IBF. She was probably the original carrier for the case of Tiefblau that the cast contracted. And past that, I have no fucking clue. So, this is going to be exciting. Also, I have heard from, like, multiple sources that Coco's route is, like, far and away the best part of Ever17. So I hope you all are excited as I am, and hope you all tune in tomorrow, and well, let me finish to see if there's more words after this before I close the video. Opening the third eye, the last chapter, finding Coco. Okay, here we go. So yeah, I hope you all tune in tomorrow, and join me as I see what is up with our pink-haired friend. But for now, I've been Teo, this has been Ever17, and I hope you have all had as wonderful of time as I have.